Hi, everyone, and welcome to the TimingResearch.com crowd forecast news for December 9th, 2024. We are recording this at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and this is episode number 458. So today I've arranged for Sonny Harris to join us again, and Jim, the option professor, is back to moderate. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
Okay, thanks a lot, David. And sorry for a little delay here, guys, but we're all up and running now. We were going to go through all these markets, and we're very, very lucky and excited to have Sonny Harris with us because she has her own technical approach that is very unique. And so she'll be explaining it. And with just me and her, she'll be having plenty of time to go through what she does. The big news here today, as far as I could tell, was the announcement that China is back buying gold. And of course, that had lifted the gold market quite a bit. We'll get into that because that's kind of exciting. And then, of course, we're getting a little bit of a rollover on the stock market. So we'll get into that as well. As we go into the end of the year, a lot of people were expecting choppiness this week, and we're getting it because of tax selling and book squaring and things along those nature. But without further ado, let's get into this stuff. Sonny Harris is with us. And Sonny, what are you seeing here on the S&P 500? Do you have the S&P up there now?
I do indeed. This is a daily chart. We've got one red bar that came down inside the upper outer band. That's a setup. It's not a trigger yet, but it's a setup of a sell signal. So I'm looking for the S&P. If we get a second red candle, I'm looking for the S&P to go to right to 6,000. So that
are you looking for it? Are you looking for it to pull back to 6,000?
I am.
Yeah. No, I think you got it because I got a big sell signal at 60.90 today, and so far it's looking like it's about almost 20 points to the good.
Yeah,
and
this one was at 60.
I did have something supporting around 60. I wonder if you see anything on this is on a monthly graph. I do have some supporting around 60.50 ballpark area, and then under there we go down towards the 6,000. What do you see?
I've got 58.97 right there for worst case scenario. And
I got you.
The next one would be right where we are right now. So, it could fool us all and bounce off that and go on up.
Because again, the trends are still up. It's just we're basically getting what they call a little bit of a reversion rally, a reversion dip.
Yeah, and like you said, the window dressing.
Yeah, because again, at the end of the year, and of course that VIX hit 12. So when you hit 12 on the VIX, it's not going to go to zero. And so the VIX today, I'm sure, is popping very good because of the fact that 12 is a pretty low handle.
Well,
just to give people an idea. Yeah. Do you follow VIX?
Mm-hmm. So I've got 13.
Yeah, we're almost 10%. And to be honest with you, it looks like the tide's changed a little bit on the VIX. So if the VIX has changed and it's going on not a major advance, but going back to sea level of 15 or 16, then of course we could go down to 6,000. Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and there was a divergence when we hit 1250 on the VIX 1250 area. So complacency only goes so far, particularly when you've had a very extended run like we've had, huh?
That's true. It's been extended, but oftentimes these extensions will get a flat correction like this one, and then go on up. And sometimes they'll do another little correction down to the lower inner band, which tells me it's too strong to go down farther. And it bounces back up again, back to the DMA and back up again. It's amazing how.
Now, where's your purple? Because your purple is a very important line. Where's your purple and gold at right now?
Well, if you look down here at who's on top, it tells you gold. So gold's on top, solid gold, and it has been since back in here. So the buy signal on this one was right there.
Right.
And then,
but you remember where we are now? Where is purple and gold now?
Gold's on top.
I mean, what numbers?
The numbers are. Let's see. Gold is 60.15, and the purple below it is 60.02.
There you go. So that's where your destination would be if it has a full Monty pullback.
Mm-hmm. And I think it'll go on.
Okay, here's something I was going to ask you. You see
Sure.
underneath, I'm not 100% certain what the, oh, let's talk about that area. Yeah, the red and the gold right there. Talk
Okay.
about that.
This is the DMA histogram. So it's the difference between the purple and the gold lines on the DMA. So when it's gold, we know gold's on top and it's rising. And when it turns red, that's a warning that we're going to go the other direction. When it crosses over zero, like this back here, it tells me that purple has receded and gold is now on top. So as long as we've got gold on top, even if they're red, we're still long. These are just take profit positions.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cross over there. It just keeps on going. So right now it's a little tentative, maybe we should take profits right there and see what happens. That's
Right.
what I'm doing.
Well, like I say, there, it hit a pretty high price. I think what was the high on the S&P there? The 6150 or?
Let's see. Data window. So the high on that was 6107. High on that one, 6102. High 6111 was the high.
So right around 6110, something like that. So getting back above that would obviously open the door for this 6300 rally.
Right.
That guys like Tom Lee are looking for. Do you think we could go 6300? I mean, it's almost going to be the 10th of the month in a day or two.
I've got I've got a chart. It's not up here right now, but I've got a chart that shows natural numbers. So it draws a horizontal line at 6100 and 6200 and 6300, etc. And price goes to those lines over and over and over again. I mean, we're coming.
Well, if we go down to your number of 6,000, and we're going to go to 6,300 by the end of the year, you're looking at a 5%. You're looking at a good 5% rally off of that low.
Wouldn't that be fascinating?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
If I can get this, let's put up a couple things that I've been watching. I'm sure you're watching as well. Let's look at SMH. Okay.
SME? XME.
SMH. That's Sammy, Mary, Harry. It's the semiconductor index that was trying to break out above 250.
Yeah, but it didn't make it.
And we also had NVIDIA trying to break out above 145. And now it's backing off. But I was thinking, and by the way, on this index, 35% of it is NVIDIA and Taiwan Semi, with Broadcom and
AMD
being another big one.
AMD?
I think AMD is in there, but maybe not as much weighting. Obviously, 35% of the index being in Taiwan Semi and NVIDIA means those two stocks almost would have to rally if the SMH is going to rally.
Yeah.
And it would also, and since NVIDIA is such a heavy part and Google is a heavy part of these indexes, you would imagine that some of those might have to rally if we're going to get any action on them as well.
Google's pretty stagnant. You want to look at NVIDIA for a second?
Yeah, we might as well, because again, this is the sector, this would be the one-stop shop ETF, but NVIDIA is obviously a big part of it.
It's doing the same sideways movement, only at a higher level.
Right. Where's that green line come in? About 150?
The upper one?
The resistance, the higher one, the resistance.
Resistance 148.2 something.
Okay. Yeah, so if we get above there, and the S&P gets above 6.
If we go through the teal one at 146 something, 146.0 something, if we get above there, we're definitely going on up to this one.
Yeah. The point being is if you're going to go to 6,300, it's going to have to go well past the green line of 148.
Exactly.
Which, obviously wouldn't surprise anybody, because this is a company that has, a lot of revenue coming in, and this Blackwell chip is supposed to be a very big demand item. So,
do they have it debugged yet?
I think they're working through it, but you know,
Yeah, I don't
those
know.
kind of things could be worked out. The main thing is they have the orders. They have the orders.
Yeah, yeah. But they need to produce
And
the product too.
let's look at Taiwan Semi, because that's another big part of that SMH.
No, what is it?
TSM.
And that was moving on up still.
Yeah. So if those two get
The high
moving,
that we have a problem with on this one, we've got an attractor right here. So the price could go to there and stumble.
and where is that about though? 220?
That is at 212.26.
Okay, 212. Yeah. So we'd probably have to go through that as well if we're going to go up to
Mhm.
6,300 on the S&P.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
All right. Another one that I think people are probably wondering about is Tesla, because it went up towards 400, which is the all-time high. And did it like the altitude, or is it backing off?
It's backing off. I think it's going to come down to, let's see, right there. And see how this hits it? The price hits that horizontal line. I call them attractors. Over here,
Mm-hmm.
it hits it and hits it and hits it. And I didn't look at that when I drew this line. So it could come back down to that level. That's what I'm expecting this. I've always said Tesla is a tradable, not an investable. Because
Yeah, believe me. I mean, when it was down at 220, 240, that was a gift. And now at 400, it's probably got a lot of its legs out of its way.
We backed off to 382 now.
Well, that is kind of a big reversal. Like I say, it went up to the high.
Uh-huh.
The all-time high on it was anywhere between 400 and 420.
Uh-huh.
And it went up today to 404. And it lost 20
Back
bucks
off.
before you could spell Tesla. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of profit taking right there on that high.
Well, to be honest with you, it looks like the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my belief is when things go up like that, it's an order imbalance, and
Mhm.
order imbalances sometimes don't last. Because once they've satisfied the order imbalance, you have to find new people who want to pay 400.
Right.
And obviously, that's more difficult than finding people who have to cover all their shorts and want to get long at 250 or 280 or 300.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the market maker's done a good job of getting in there and taking in all the volume at 400 bucks, and now he's already up 16 bucks on it, because most people in the public would not be selling; they would be buying. In fact, I do options, and there's been a lot of people saying, "What about calls on Tesla? What about calls?" I go, "Listen, guy, you don't buy calls on something that's already gone up like that, because the premiums are huge, and you're setting yourself up for providing liquidity for smart people."
Exactly.
But I just wanted to show, because a lot of people are interested in that. You can't fight the tape on it. This is definitely too strong to short and too high to buy.
Right.
But you had an opportunity. I mean, look at the opportunity even on your sunny bands. You can see the opportunity. Where do you have it? My opportunity was like 230, 240.
Buy signal was back here at 212.
There you go. And then even add some more around 230 or 240, right?
Sure. I don't do that, but one certainly can.
Yeah. Well, you can see, after you had the bottom, you had a rally. Then you had the pullback to the purple and gold. On the pullback to the purple and gold, that was your opportunity to add, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then now it just should be punch your ticket.
Yeah, but see how Tesla goes up and down, up and down, up, and then here and then down. To me, it's a tradable. It's not an investable. But I
Well, the
love
other
that
thing
trade.
that I would say, like but we can both see it's very extended. What some people on the option side might consider is dumping their stock and then buying a call spread at 400 or 420, just so they have a position. And then if it pulls back like you're talking about, they would lose on the call spread a limited amount, but they'd also, if it drops 50 bucks, it would certainly be worthwhile, because 30 or $50 drop, is pretty substantial. A call spread might cost you $5 or $10. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's called a replacement trade on the options, and that's the way people use options strategically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know. Okay,
What
let's
else you got?
take a look at Google. Let's take a look at Google because I am of the belief that as long as it stays above 170, it could also go a little nuts going into the end of the year, possibly. Do you see anything there?
Well, we've got an attractor right here. Let me draw that in because it's so if we put it right here at this, I don't count wicks. I just go off the
No,
body of the candles. The
right.
wicks are so likely to just be algos, so I don't count 'em. But that's a really good line right there at 180.62. 180. So I think we'll go up to the 180, whether we'll break it or not.
Mhm.
It hits it a lot here, it hits it here and here and here and here. So that's pretty strong resistance. But I think it'll try for it.
And then the other thing is, if we're going to 6,300 on the S&P, it might be because a stock like this, which has some pretty good weighting, breaks above 180, and
Mhm.
actually that would help the index quite a bit because of its weighting.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
How about the other? Let's look at the other Mag 7s, because again, if we're going up to those levels that this guy Lee's talking about, you're probably going to have the Mag 7 go up because of their weighting in the index as well. So let's start out with Apple and do a little rotation on some of the big guys.
Apple's doing quite well.
Right.
We're up at 246.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's been in a buy signal, Sunny Band's buy signal since right here at 219.71. That's not
Yep.
half bad.
And then more all-time highs here. So
Uh-huh.
again, there's no real resistance when you're in all-time highs until
Right. You can't
these
find
moving averages catch up to it. And now it's getting pretty far away from the averages here. My
it. And
1
then
year has it down at around 238 on the moving average. So
finally.
they're
And which
starting
moving
to.
average do you use?
So if we did have a pullback, do you see what do you see on a pullback if it was to pull back?
To the DMA, which is right at 238 and a half.
Yeah, that coincides. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
that would be a good place to get on board if it pulls back a little bit and it's going to stay in the uptrend.
yeah. Let's look at a longer term chart of this, if you don't mind, and see what the picture
No,
looks like.
the breakout.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at it on the monthly, which I do all the time, we're just going up.
Yeah, I go like you. When I look at any stock, I always start at the 20-year, and then I go to the 5-year, then I go to the
Mm-hmm.
1 year, then I go to the short term, because
Mm-hmm.
you want to know that the thing is where it is on a long-term chart. I mean,
Exactly.
you wouldn't want to get off the boat and go, yeah, looks like Apple's a really good stock. Well, you're also getting in at the all-time high when
Right.
it's fairly extended.
And there's usually
So
a
yes,
pullback after an all-time high.
yeah, yeah. What about Amazon?
And this is the daily chart, I think. Yep. And same thing, just exactly. All-time high, moving up, moving up again after that all-time high, made
Yeah,
new today.
so
So
that one's
that
going pretty
that's
good.
got yeah, that's got no way to go except up.
Yeah. Hey, listen, between AWS and Christmas time and these delivery trucks all over the place, it's hard to fight
Yeah.
them. And then their warehouses, I saw some special that they're going really automated on them.
Are they? That's
Oh
really
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's great.
yeah. So, in fact, let's look at something I was looking at today. BOTZ, BOTZ. It's obviously the robotic ETF. Looks to me like it's breaking out.
Oh, it looks to me like it's going sideways there. It did break out, and this is probably profit taking. but it's not bad, not bad at all. So yeah, well, here's if
That's a
I,
one-stop shop. Yeah, one-stop shop if you want to play robotics.
and it's above its all-time high back here. And then again here, and now it's come down off of it a little bit. So that could drop to the DMA at 33.13. We're at
Now, how about the
30.
silent? How about the silent big guy called Microsoft? Is that sneaky?
Yeah.
Is that going to sneak up and put $50 on it, or is it?
Are people going to be buying Microsoft things for Christmas for each other?
Well, it just looks to me like it has not done much. That 420 number was real key to hold, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I mean, is there a big, like, again, if we're going to 6,300, these are the guys that are probably going to have a run up because,
Right.
they're weighted. The indexes are weighted towards them.
That's right. But this went cycle, 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 and now it's going up. So the next cycle is the correction. So
Okay.
it just moves in these waves up and down. That if you put an imaginary linear regression line on this, it's flat. And look how flat the DMA is this whole time. I don't like to trade when the DMA is flat. I'll stay away from that.
I got you. But do you see a little tendency in the last few weeks that it is turning to the upside?
Yeah, yeah. I just don't know how long. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's high to have profit taking right after an all-time high. So it's very common. So I'm long, but I'm very cautious. I got a tight stop on that.
Well, you bring up a good point, which we can segue into here. Something that made an all-time high, and that's getting a sell-off. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. If you can put up, do you know the symbol for Bitcoin?
Uh-huh. And it backed off from.
And that baby went to 100 and change, and now it's been coming off. So.
I think it went to 101 or 105 or something. Let's see. Yeah, 104 something. Golly, this one.
I thought a close. I thought a close under. I was thinking a close under 95 grand might open the door for a correction to fill the gap between 75 and 85, something like
right
that.
over here.
77 and 80. Yeah, 77 and 82.
Uh-huh. I don't think
that's kind of a lot to ask for a market this strong, but
yeah, and I don't think it's going to go that low because Donald Trump's espousing it. His son has a Bitcoin. I don't know whether he's a miner or what he is, but he has a Bitcoin fund of some sort of his own, a new Bitcoin. Wouldn't be surprised if they put Trump's face on it.
Yeah.
So with that,
at some point that'll be an attractor.
Yeah.
So you're not immediate. It actually might coincide with a stock market correction if the stock market corrected in Q1.
Mm-hmm. This is the one I trade. Ethereum.
How's your feeling? Yeah, how's your feeling on the concept of it's a buy the rumor, sell the fact? Meaning,
I think.
I mean, ever since the election, this thing's been bid up like Trump is going to have every answer for every question, and then when he gets in on January 20th, maybe there'll be a reality check.
That's what I'm thinking. Just exactly. But you know,
it's kind of like if you go down to Cabo for fishing, you kind of let the marlin run as long as it'll run, and then when it gets tired, you can reel it in.
Yep. And it didn't happen the first time he was in. It just kept going up and up and up till we had COVID.
Yeah.
So it could do that again.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question. Like I say, there's animal spirits with this administration coming in. No doubt about that.
That's funny. Yeah.
But it's just like it seems like everyone is pricing things as if everything is going to be done that he talked about, and everything's going to be done without a hitch.
And soon. Yeah.
And soon.
Yeah. People want to see this right away.
So where do you think the support is on Bitcoin right now, as far as what you can see?
This is Ethereum. Let me bring up.
Because I do have some support right here at 98 grand.
Oh, right here's where mine is. This is where the DMA is at 93,982. Let's call it 94.
So 94, 98 area here could be a support area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let's look at a couple of stocks in there. How's MicroStrategy, MSTR?
Oh, that one's pulled back, hasn't it? But it's
Yeah.
bouncing along on the flat DMA, which doesn't say to me that it's going down yet. It also doesn't, that could be really good support, or it could bounce right after that and go on back up. We have a little gap that's been closed there. What's the volume on this thing? Do you know if it's got good volume?
Oh, I'm sure it's pretty good because, I mean, this guy has taken loans out to buy Bitcoin. In other words, he's issued bonds
Really?
and took the proceeds. Yeah, he takes the proceeds and buys it. So it'd be like, say you were
Ah.
bullish on NVIDIA and you were borrowing money to buy more NVIDIA.
Oh my gosh.
You'd be pretty exposed to NVIDIA.
That's pretty leveraged.
Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Well, that's why it moved so much. I mean, the darn thing
Yeah.
went. When I first looked at it months ago, where I thought it could turn because of the halving,
Yes.
I was in there looking at options at 145 and 180, and the thing
Oh,
went to
wow.
550.
Wow.
Yeah, and when it
The
goes up to
volume's
550, I
dropping.
mean, yeah.
Volume's dropping off on this. So it's just in congestion right now, and there's really no way to tell which way it's going to go. If it's going to bounce up to the upper outer band or drop down to the lower outer band. It could go either
But
way.
the gold and the purple are right there where we are now, pretty much, aren't they?
Mhm. Well, look how close they're getting to crossing over. See the histogram get closer and closer to zero.
Okay.
And at anything more negative than zero, it'll be purple on top.
And that's when the winds of change would blow.
Yes. Well, they actually blew back here when it turned red.
Right.
That's the signal at the red there.
What about Coinbase, COIN?
Yeah, we got some, and this is really basically sideways too. All through here, it's a bit of a flag with a flagpole before it. We've got a gap here and a gap here. This gap pretty much been filled along this sideways move, but this is a warning setup, and this is a signal right here. That's a short signal to go down to 293.13 right there.
Okay. All right, and
Gold.
last one would be Mara. Let's try one last one. Mara, MARA, Marathon Holdings.
Uh-huh. And they're backing off too. Is this oil?
This is a miner.
A miner, okay. Yeah. What do they mine?
They mine Bitcoin.
Oh, a Bitcoin miner. I thought you were
Yeah,
going to
they're
tell
a
me it's
Bitcoin miner.
gold, coil.
They're what they call a synthetic or a hybrid miner.
Ah, cool.
They mine with computers
Yeah,
as opposed to other things.
they do that
All right,
indeed.
here's something. I got something for you that I definitely wanted to make sure we covered is gold.
Gold.
Chinese are buying it again, according to reports, and obviously
Well, the Chinese
turmoil. You got enough turmoil around the world to get things going. It held 26.20. It held 25.50. Where are you at on gold?
I am actually, I buy coins, and I bought some coins back in here, and I've just been holding them through all this. Right here, I bought
Sure.
some more, and
Okay.
I'm hoping it's, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I'm hoping it's going to go down to 25.65, and I'm going to buy some more.
I got you. So you're looking for a retest of that recent low. I definitely believe that 2550 is an extremely important number. As you can see,
Yes,
underneath
it
that
sure
lies the
is.
abyss.
It sure is. Yeah, and the abyss
And
is a tractor right
yeah,
there.
right. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely on the short-term stuff. It broke out today once it got above 2650.
Look how
So,
heavy the support is back through here at this level. That's
oh yeah,
2567. And then it comes over and it goes right through this one. So I think it's going to test that.
I got some resistance right here, though. I'm wondering if you see any. I
Uh,
have a moving average on one of my charts here that comes in at 2680.
I got 2681 is where the DMA is. That's my dynamic moving average. And prices are staying below it. So that's heavy resistance.
Yeah. 2672, 2680 could be an interesting number. Gets above there, everything's on a long-term up. So
Yeah, I think we're actually
you might not get your chance at 2550 if we start breaking above 2680, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do think it's going to 3,000.
Yeah. And why shouldn't it? I mean, you've got the collapse of Syria, you've got Romania, you got
Yep.
nobody running France, Germany's without a leader,
Right.
and you know, you've got hard to believe the Middle East is settled. You know.
So China just discovered the biggest gold ore vein in China in the last week or so. It's announced, and it's got more gold in it than any other mine on the planet. So they're going to mine that and bring the price of gold down, I think.
Well, that could happen. I think their main goal, I would imagine their main goal is to try to make that yuan connected to something solid so that people could
Mm-hmm.
use it as a means of exchange.
Yeah, so
And
they definitely want that.
and if they told people it's redeemable in gold,
Mm-hmm.
it certainly would take the viability meter way up, I think.
It certainly would. And then we've got the dollar to wonder about.
Yeah, because you do have a lot of people who are concerned that the U.S., if they get mad at you, can lock up your money, and I don't think people are very happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah,
All right, here's my big story for next year.
go for it.
The gold, obviously, and well, let's put up a couple of stocks that I think are very interesting here. How about Newmont Mining, NEM?
Ah, that was struggling, isn't it?
It is, but
It's
it's
got
if
a
you're a
big gap,
value person, it's a pretty good value down here.
isn't it?
Well, if gold's going up to 3,000, it would be.
It would be.
The easier one to put your arms around, AEM, Apple Edward Mary. I think you'll like this one.
All right, let me get my pointer back. Apple Edward Mary. That one's doing better than the other one. And look here, the
Yeah.
histogram is approaching the zero line. If it goes across the zero line, we're going on up. And it's one of those who knows where the top is. You know, there's nothing sitting up there to hold it down right now.
Before we leave the metals, you want to take a shot at the silver?
Sure. What is it? At SI, right?
SIL, yeah, SI or
That's
SI.
SI.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't play with silver. I used to have big bags of junk silver, all mercury dimes. And
Yeah.
it's
364, 720 ounces in a bag.
yeah, it's heavy. And if you had I had 10 bags of those things at one point, and I thought I've got to get rid of these. If I had to evacuate in a flood or a fire, I'd be in trouble trying to carry 10 bags of this. So
Well, we had a guy here. We had a guy here in Las Vegas named Teddy Binion. They own the Binion's Horseshoe, and he moved out to Pahrump, which is a kind of a remote town, 60 miles outside of town.
Yeah.
And he buried tons and tons of silver under the ground.
Oh,
And when he passed away, people were out there in the middle of the night digging up his silver, and they got in trouble.
oh, how funny. My goodness. Only in Las
Mm,
Vegas.
exactly. Teddy Binion. Um, anyway, so the silver, I think as long as it stays about $30, you can remain concrete on it, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so. And it'll give a
Yeah.
run for this price at the yellow dot at 35.51. So I think it'll test that number. Let's see right here. We've got another one. It's where current price is right here at this attractor from right here. Goes right across to where it is now. And this it's trying to touch the upper inner band. You see how it wicked up there and got that? So it looks to me like, see, it came off a flat DMA and bounced. And I think it'll go to the upper outer band at 33.58. I
So
think.
that looks like it could pop as well.
Uh-huh.
Let's close out the metals with the copper. Freeport is FCX.
X.
F Frank Charlie X-ray.
Got it. Okay. They are touching the lower outer band. They're below the lower inner band and going down into the lower outer. We've got an attractor that sits right there on that yellow dot, which is where price currently is. So it's pretty good support right there. This looks to me like it could either go down sharply down to this level, which is at 38.8. So it could go down to there very easily. Or, of course, today it's bounced up. It could bounce up and cross the DMA, in which case it's going up. We'd have
It's
to get
it's a decision time for this stuff.
it is. It absolutely is. And if we get a blue candle right here after this one, then it is going up. If it crosses over that DMA, we're going up.
It's nice to look at some things that aren't on their all-time highs, you know?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. And let's close out this thing in the last few minutes here. And
Okay.
let's look at something on energy, because Chevron announced that they're cutting back CapEx spending, which is really a statement that might be saying that they are not going to look for any more energy. And if they're not looking for any more energy, the supply-demand dynamic could change dramatically if the demand were to be strong, because everyone is stimulating. The ECB is supposed to be cutting their rates. China is obviously stimulating. We're talking about lowering our rates, and Trump's in town. And so the use of energy could be quite substantial in 2025. And if these guys are not putting any money into increased production, and the stocks are dirt cheap. So let's start out with the price of crude.
Okay.
And then we'll go into some oil stocks, because that's really could be the untold story going into next year.
Well, crude is just going up and down again, like Tesla did. And right now it came down to, but did not touch the lower outer band and bounced. So I think that it's probably going to go. There's also a trend line kind of there. Let's see that. Where's trend line? So we've got this trend line, which is following it down now. And then we've got this that goes off of here.
Right.
And I think that's where we're going, is to that trend line. You see, I use sunny bands in my other indicators, dynamic moving average histogram, and I also use traditional technical analysis. All that stuff comes into play.
Can you explain further that last group of data that you have at the bottom, which has green, red, and yellow in it?
Sure, that's the slope. So that tells me the angle at which price is moving. Right now it's red, telling me that the slope is changing, going further down. And this gray thin line right there is the zero line. So that tells me slope's not only turning down, it's negative. So if the slope stays negative, then we've got a bet.
I got you. And the purple and gold on crude comes in about what price? Up top, on your chart. Yeah.
69.88.
So getting above 70 would be good.
Oh, that would be.
And then,
yeah.
Mhm. And then what about your upper bands?
Upper bands are at, come on, 71.91 and 73.18.
Yeah.
72 and
So basically,
73.
if we see this thing trading in the 75 to 80 mark, it could be getting ready to really go. So this is something to monitor for sure, because obviously right now there's no rush to get in because obviously it's underneath everything and the momentum doesn't look that great. But these things do change fast when they change sometimes.
They
So just
do.
something to monitor, I think, right?
Yeah.
Now let's look at some of the big stocks. Let's go to Occidental Petroleum, OXY.
Yeah, it's the same picture. Just
Yeah.
exactly the same picture. Just going down.
Hey, listen, if oil breaks under 65 and 62, the whole energy sector is going to collapse.
You think?
If it doesn't, we're staring at the lows. So it's kind of exciting from that standpoint.
It is. Do you think that this is all war related?
Well, the thing that's getting me on the stuff that I use on the energy is all the lows on the 20-year and the 5-year, the longer term stuff, are all holding the number of 40 on the momentum RSI. When it holds 40, it's important to me because if it breaks through 40 and goes into the 30s, you're going to accelerate to the downside. If it can't do that, there's not going to be an acceleration and you're staring at the lows. So that's why this is extremely interesting to me, particularly as an option person, because you can go way out into next year and get call options on things like Occidental, or let's put up a couple of other ones like ConocoPhillips, COP.
Okay, hang on one second. I'll finish drawing that so I can come back to it. So we have a downsloping pennant on that, which is chances are it's going to bounce to the top of the pennant and then back down again. Now give me those call letters again.
Mm-hmm.
What did you want to see?
Did you look at? You put up the ConocoPhillips, COP?
Oh, COP. There we go, and that's the same picture
Yeah, only at a higher level.
at a higher level.
So it's actually in better condition than option from
Yeah,
that standpoint.
it is. You're right. Oh, that's a monthly chart. Wait a minute.
Well, you
But
can see
it is.
they're right on the foundation,
Looks like it could go lower. See how the histogram turned purple and is under zero now? That usually
Yeah.
leaves sizable move down into this area. So I don't know where that would, but something in here, right about there. Okay, there. That's really low.
No, the fact that it's above the lower band is not a negative.
No, that's a positive, isn't it? But the candle hasn't turned blue, so it's
No. But it would be something to keep on your radar. That's all I'm talking about.
uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah,
There's
100
another
isn't
one up
too
in
low.
Canada called Synovus, CVE.
And that's the same picture again. They're all doing about the same
Okay.
thing. All tied to the price of oil, I'm sure.
And what about the servicers? One's called Schlumberger, SLB.
Schlumberger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Schlumberger is the same picture. We've got it headed to the lower outer band. We've got an attractor down at this level at 39.69, so right about 40. I think we'll drop to that level, and we're currently at 41.41.
Close to the support.
So one more point down on this.
And what about Halliburton, HAL?
Same exact story, except it does have a blue candle forming today. Now that's contrary.
Yeah, I find it very exciting if you can identify markets that are on a ledge, because if they break the ledge, there's going to be a lot of people throwing in the towel, and if everyone's throwing in the towel and the market maker is the only guy buying, it'll be a big old gap to the downside. Or you're looking at something that is right on the basement And when you buy the basement, when the premiums are extremely low on options, that's not. And again, the way I try to take advantage of things when the premiums are very low on something like this, go out 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Lock in the price down here, limited risk. And
we buy, the government buys oil for for its reserves when the price is low, like it is now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that buying come in.
Now, what about the uranium stock, CCJ? Is there a value there?
Wow. So it went up. I don't know if that's an all-time high or not because I can't see that far back, but it went up, touched the upper outer band, came down, did not hit the DMA, and started back up again. And then we got this big red bar that touched the DMA. Now, often that means that the down slot is over. It'll bounce out. See, the DMA is flat right through here, very flat.
Right.
And that tells me that we could bounce at this level and surprise everybody. Interesting.
A couple more, one more on that energy front is Range Resources, RRC. It's a natural gas entity, and on my 20-year graph, it looks like it's dying to break out. But on the shorter term, it's been a little bit more spotty, huh?
It is. It's doing a cyclical thing too, up to the DMA down, up to the outer band down. So this could be almost over. I think it'll hit the lower inner band and bounce up from there.
Yeah, it's having a decent day today. It's up 2.5%. Do you have a 20-year graph? Do you have a 20-year graph on it?
What I can do is put up a monthly graph.
10-year? Yeah, monthly. That'll be good.
I'll put up the monthly and squeeze it together.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many years that's 1 year. That's as far back as I can go right now.
Okay, no big deal. And the other big one today is Alibaba, BABA. These guys are saving a lot of their dry powder to see how Trump comes out, and then they're going to react, I think, by a lot of stimulus. So I took a shot at this one, and I think it looks like a pretty good deal.
It's up 790, 9%.
Yeah.
Very
good. Yeah,
good.
so I'm trying to say, I thought last week that this thing was a pretty good deal. And I think what's your band saying where we could go on this thing?
Well, we went right up to the upper inner band, and I think it's going to go on up to the upper outer, which is currently at, what is it, 95.65. But price is at 93.82, so there's a point or so there. And it looks to me, because the histogram is green and heading up toward the zero line, and slope is trying to get above zero. It's still negative, but its slope is sloping up. So that could mean we'll come up into the flat DMA area right in here at a 107.5. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, one thing we've definitely established here today is that obviously your technical analysis has quite a bit of value. So in the last few minutes here, can you just explain a little bit, how people can get a hold of you, how you'll help them when they do, and that kind of thing.
I love to help people. I love to teach brand new traders that have been negative and now want to put in the education and get it up to positive. I do make sunny bands and my dynamic moving average and the whole suite of indicators available. Go to moneymentor.com and click on order form. You'll see everything that I have there listed alphabetically. I do consult and mentor. I do sell these indicators. I have a live trading room that meets every morning at 9 a.m. and we trade for 1 hour so that people can see exactly how I do this. And we trade on a 5-minute chart. So Sunny at moneymentor.com, and the website's moneymentor.com. And I would love for people to give me a call at 760-908-3070. That's my cell phone.
And they can text you at that number too, right?
They can definitely text me. Text me your email.
Yeah, so maybe they could text you and say they're available at such and such a time, and try to
Absolutely.
schedule something with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do
All right.
that.
Well, as far as Option Professor is concerned, we've got a couple of things here for you. One is that we have an options master class. So that means if you've never done options before, or you have, you certainly could probably learn more. It's a 6-hour, 3-session options masterclass that myself and Daniel from Trading Indicators put together. And it comes free of charge when you join up for our stuff every month. So that's a $397 value for free. We want you to know what you're doing, obviously. That's why we're giving the class away for free. Then we have a 3-month situation where you get options alerts every Sunday night. And that is going to show you different ideas that I think look good in areas called strangles, where you do calls and puts at the same time. That means you're basically betting on volatility. And I obviously look for things that I think are going to be volatile, where the premiums are very reasonable. And then I go out in time to where I think volatility will hit. Sometimes I use the earnings reports, sometimes markets that are moving sector-wise, whatever I see. So that comes to your inbox every Sunday night. And then finally, we also have coaching, which means a lot of you guys might not know exactly what you're doing as far as the options because you haven't had the tremendous experience, or you'd want to hear somebody else's take on how to trade options. And so the 3-month situation with that comes in with the coaching, which goes for normally $200 an hour. And I'm throwing that in an hour's worth when people join up as well. So you get the class for free. You get the alerts every Sunday night, which includes commentary on the markets, and you get coaching, and that's a pretty good deal. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in that, David is going to have something up there, I guess, on the board that you can click and basically find out about it. If it's for you, great, and if it's not, that's okay too.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jim.
Yeah, you bet, Sonny. Like I said, I think we're both trying to do one thing, is help people, do better at what they do, and taking all of our knowledge and experience and making it available to them. And all they really have to do is just inquire.
Yeah. And I do free TradeStation lessons for anyone that's interested in getting TradeStation or is new to it, doesn't really know how to make it work. Give me a call. I'll work with you and get you used to TradeStation, again, for free.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. We can help the people, and that's a good deal. All right. Well, it seems like we're at the top of the hour, Sonny. It's always a pleasure. We're going to do it again, of course. But it was nice to talk to you today. That's for sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. You have a good day. And David, you take it over now.
All right. Great discussion. Yeah. All right. So just a quick reminder for everyone. If just be sure to subscribe to Timing Research on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. Also, you can just go to TimingResearch.com to get access to any of the past shows or events. And I just want to thank my guests again for today, Sonny Harris of MoneyMentor.com and the Option Professor of OptionProfessor.com. Thanks, everyone.